Technology, diversity, wine, the redwoods, and everything in between. Welcome to the Northern California Bay Area, and one show takes you inside the real estate that makes it all happen. This is By the Bay.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to By the Bay. I'm your host, Dan Ancheta, and I'm thrilled to have my wife, Megan, back by popular demand. We had to do a...
Who is popularly demanding?
I have gotten way more comments and texts and everything about your last appearance on the show than I do on any other episode, even though, we love all of our guests and we're thrilled to have them here. I had the outreach from people saying, we need more Meg.
Wow.
I feel the same way. I think my life needs more Meg, and everyone else would benefit from it too. So my wife, Megan, is back on the podcast. How you doing?
Hi. I'm tired.
I'm tired. It's interesting because the kids went back to school, and I feel like we're more busy.
Yeah.
In like in this time period than we were when it was summertime.
I feel like the current parenting lie that I'm unearthing is that you'll be, just wait until the kids go back to school and so much time will free up and, you won't have them there and it'll be so much easier. And it's the same, like it's on the same plane of lies as when like you have a newborn and people are like, oh, just sleep when the baby sleeps. Like you're not sleeping at night? Okay, just sleep when the baby sleeps. And then you kind of just roll with it and you're like, yeah, I'll just do that. And then you realize, well, there's still like laundry and dishes and groceries and your personal needs and showers and like I can't do all that and sleep when the baby sleeps.
Yeah, I think that's it's like a weird coping thing that parents do to each other. Like, it's going to be fine. Just sleep when the baby sleeps. It sounds so reassuring. Like, I can't sleep all night. The baby does this. I'm up every couple hours. And it's like, just nap when they nap.
But it's usually like a generation above you that's completely forgotten what it's like to have a newborn or completely forgotten what it's like to have 3 kids in elementary and preschool.
Right.
That are giving this well-intentioned, well-meaning advice, but then you believe it and then you're like, wait, I don't have any. How am I busier? I don't even have the kids with me. How am I busier?
Right.
Why?
Yeah, I think right now our life right now is pretty busy because it's like we got to get up at a certain time. I've been trying to go to the gym in the morning, and it's like then you get up, and then the kids have to get up, and then you got to have breakfast, and then it's like racing to get out the door. And then you have to like catch your breath from that kind of push. And then next thing you know, it's time to pick them up from school.
The signing up for things too is what gets you. Because it's just one thing.
Yeah.
But then it's just another thing. And then they just need another thing. And then pretty soon you're drowning in things. And then you know what? It's more things.
And then you have too many things.
There's so many things.
And then school, and then like the Wednesday schedule always messes me up.
Oh, geez. Minimum day is a thing. Taekwondo is a thing. Tennis and drama club and just getting them to and from everywhere and the snacks that need to go with it and the laundry that creates. It's just always a thing. And then, like you said, you're getting up and working out. I'm trying to go back to the gym and work out with a more focused intention. Because I really just like to walk for like 15 minutes on the treadmill and then go sit by the pool and read my book. But that does not promote good health.
Mental health is important.
That's true.
It's very true. And there are days that you just need to go and read a book by the pool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're doing that every day, it's probably not going to help you reach your
cardiovascular goals. Yeah. I would like to not be winded walking upstairs carrying a child.
What's funny is yesterday I kind of got thrown off at the gym and I decided just to go on the stair stepper thing.
Brutal.
And I was like, this is actually pretty functional training.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to like carry a sack of potatoes like a 2-year-old.
You could get like a weight. They have like the yoga weight bags.
Yeah, just like carry like a sandbag, one-armed up the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's pretty in line with like functional fitness.
Go get a 50-pound dumbbell and hit the stair climber. I don't know if that'll get you kicked out of the gym. I don't know that that's safe, but
probably wouldn't be the first time I got kicked out of a gym.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a whole other story. So I wanted to chat on this show. I think what people wanted to know, by the way, thanks for tuning in to By the Bay. We just kind of got right into the show.
We appreciate you.
Please like and subscribe to us on Apple Podcast and Spotify and all that other stuff. I'm supposed to do that at the up front, but whatever. Nice cold open.
So many things.
So many things. People were really wanting to know more about like the dynamic between us when it comes to running our business. Like that's a lot of the feedback was like, how does this work? So I thought that we might just kind of jump in and talk about like your role here is expanding.
Yeah.
And wanted to kind of chat about that on the pod. Be like, how does it all work and who does what and how do we find the work-life harmony, which we started talking about last show.
Touched on that.
Kind of chat through that.
That's always the first reaction I get. I've been recently embarking into society more often. I've been home with babies nonstop for the last 7 or 8 years. And, there were those few years when we couldn't embark into society. And so I'm trying to participate more in like going to the gym and like interacting with people and making friends again and exploring, friendships that I found in parents that are also at the school and things like that. But it's so funny because the first thing that grownups talk about is like, what do you do to make a living? Right. And so I always say like, oh, we own our own mortgage company and my husband and I are both lenders. He's our, chief guy. He's the bread and butter, but I also work there and, we run the company together. And it's always like, oof.
Yeah. Why is it that reaction?
It's always like, oh, how do you do that? And like, why? And like, oof, isn't that difficult? And I'm like, I mean, it's work. It's not going to fun, but it's not terrible. I don't feel.
Yeah. But I think that, the alternative professions, like we can kind of do whatever, right? I feel like if we wanted to change and completely pivot and I don't know, do something else for a living, we could. But
you think like trapeze work or
like more like abstract art, stuff like that.
You hate
it's easy
and modern art.
I do. I hate it just for
it's easy. Oh, great! Now you've isolated our art crowd.
I'm just saying that I can throw something at the wall and tape some. What was the thing that I saw? It's the globes.
We can't get into this right now.
There was
make this
when we were on our
critique.
honeymoon, we were in Paris and we went to the Modern Art Museum.
I would just like to emphasize that we were on our honeymoon in Paris.
Yes.
And you're going to critique the art. Please proceed.
I definitely will critique the art.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one art installment that was a bunch of like globes that were taped to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it was saying something. I don't know what it was saying, but I looked at it and I was like, I have to leave this. I have to leave this museum right now. I found a bench and I sat down and you enjoyed the rest of the art, but I just don't get modern art.
It was a literal visceral reaction. Like there was some kind of anger towards it. You were so irritated.
And I remember I was like, they probably just went to a garage sale and found all the, like, why are we even doing this? I'm sure this is a really famous piece of art, but I just don't. Sometimes modern art, I'm not smart enough to get it.
I think you are smart enough. I think you're too smart. I think you overthink it. You got to feel it. You got to vibe with
I love art. I love art. Like,
I know.
And I just don't really get modern art.
Fair.
Abstracts.
So mark that off the list of things that we could do.
Okay.
But it's just that one thing.
Okay.
Anything else I think we got.
Totally. I think that in terms of professions that we could, endeavors we can take on, things that I think I have the entrepreneurial bug, you have the entrepreneurial bug, you've started up a bunch of different things and always looking for opportunities. I think that's really a unique skill set. But I think that the mortgage world is actually pretty great for work-life harmony if you create the boundaries, right?
Oh, the boundaries.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's part of the focus of like, if you're struggling, if you're self-employed or if you're an entrepreneur or in the real estate industry and you are struggling with like, how do I find that harmony if I'm, working 14 hours a day and I don't have that, I'm missing my kids' stuff. I want to talk about some of the stuff that we do to maintain those boundaries and things that we do to make sure that we're, in addition to running the business together, we're co-parenting our 3 children.
Yeah.
And we run our life together and we are still a married couple that wants to spend time together and like do those things.
I genuinely like you.
Right.
I like you.
The feeling's mutual. I really like you too. Yeah, it'd be a real bummer, by the way.
That'd be awkward.
Yeah.
But I like spending time with you. I look forward to like telling you about my day and looping you in on things and showing you funny TikToks. And like, I like you. And I know that we spend an inordinate amount of time together for a modern married couple. But I enjoy it.
It works for us.
It works for us. I think the main thing is that you and I have complementary strengths.
Okay.
You are a visionary. You are a big picture guy. You come up with these great ideas. And for the most part, you can execute all of the big stuff. So like, for example, when we started this business and we rented the office we're in now, you saw this room that we're in and you were like, that would be a dope podcast studio. And I mean, this was, 5 years ago maybe? And
yeah, about 5 years ago.
Yeah. And we had never podcasted. I mean, we'd listened to podcasts, but that was as far as we knew. And you had the vision for it and you could do all of the things like buying the furniture and buying the equipment. And you had, a layout, a plan of what you really wanted. But when it came down to like the panels on the wall, the lights, the timing of things, you reached out to me and were like, hey, I need these details. I need support with this.
Yeah. Some of the props and the decorating and just kind of like the functionality of the space. I can't visualize in the same way that you do.
Right. And I think that you have a really analytical brain and I feel like I have a more creative brain. And so I can visualize things and I can spatial plan and it makes sense in my head. So we play to each other's strengths in that way. And I think naturally those chips kind of fall into either category when we're doing things, whether it's the logistics with the kids or the business or whatever we're working on.
And I feel like we've always been pretty good at that kind of naturally, right? But I also feel like we've worked a lot on the communication that it requires to go through, the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. Like how many nights have I come home like just exhausted and beat and just felt like a puddle because of a really hard day or, some
hard
difficult interaction or just, things not really working out the way that we had planned. It happens often.
It's pretty frequent in this industry.
Right. But I feel like there is some we complement each other there as well, where because you're not here every single day, you're involved all the time, but you're not physically here in the office every single day, that you have a little bit of distance from it in a way, and you're able to provide some context to be able to cool, understand that today was a setback. We can still keep an eye on the big vision that we've set, and this is a setback and that stinks, but let's regroup and figure out how we continue to march on towards the big goal.
Well, one of us has to be in the forest and one of us has to see the trees, right? Like we have to be able to provide those different perspectives.
Right.
So when I'm spiraling with the kids and it feels like the walls are closing in because maybe all three of them are sick and we're all home together and they have a million needs, and you come home and I am like, there's just 4 trees. And you're like, okay,
right,
go take a shower and I'm going to manage this chaos for a minute. And, provide me the perspective of like, this is temporary. This will pass. They're not always going to be.
I guess I didn't see it from that perspective. Like, we are both distanced enough, right? Where obviously I'm involved at the house every single day. You're involved with the business every single day. It just looks different because of our primary functions.
Yeah. And
with that slight bit of distance and perspective, we're able to help each other work through that difficult day, the difficult moment, or week, or sometimes month, right?
Yeah.
When one of the kids is going through like a big developmental leap and they're just really, really difficult,
Baby jerk.
Jerk.
Yeah.
That is sometimes the download I get. Hey, how was the day today? What's going on? Well, our little one was kind of a baby jerk today. It's like, okay, well.
Yeah.
We have to work through that.
He screamed at me for 20 minutes because I wouldn't let him jump off the couch onto the coffee table. So
I don't know why
mean mom. I need you to come in and be fun dad because I was mean mom all day.
Oh,
I never let them break their bones.
What is it about kids with running on the couch? Why is that so much fun?
When we go to bed one night this week, let's try it. Because I can't imagine. It's got to be the best because it's all they want to do.
Okay, the 2 things I've noticed that our kids have been doing lately, we're getting off track, but we'll go back. Running on the couch, and when they finish like a bowl of snacks, putting their feet in the bowl.
feet-centric activity happening.
Is that something that I'm missing out on? I'm going to go have a snack after this. I'm going to put my feet in the bowl and see if I feel differently.
I would politely ask you to not
Okay.
do it. But getting us back on track, there's something that I think encompasses like kind of a nutshell idea, like in a nutshell, what it's like for us to manage our work-life harmony. And it's that the freedom is in the routine.
Say it again for the people in the back.
The freedom is in the routine.
We're like looking straight at the camera. You know,
Direct
she's serious.
eye contact.
Yeah, exactly.
I routinize everything. And that might be my special form of neurodivergence, but that's where I'm at. Everything has a space. Everything has a routine. Everything has a timeline. Literally everything. Now, we don't stick to that with military precision by any means, but the processes are there. The storage is available for all the items. Everything in our house has a space, possibly a basket. Everything's labeled. Everything's super, super organized. And there is a routine. There's an order of operations for everything so that if and when somebody is sick or somebody's sad or somebody is being a baby jerk, there's a way that we can get back on track for the day. So cool. If you're going to scream through your entire nap time, I can't control that. But when we get up, we're going to get changed into our play clothes. We're going to go have a snack. We're going to have a sip of water. We're going to watch TV for 20 minutes. And then we're going to go pick up your sisters. So it's fine, but we can leave that all in the past because now we're back on track with this part of the routine.
When you have the routine and you have the predictability, I think it's easier for the little one, especially, to like, oh, okay, now we're doing this. And they can like move on from whatever was frustrating them before. And I think the other thing that you do really, really well is you anticipate what those needs are going to be. And you kind of see, kind of into the future, right? a bit. Because you're just really paying attention, honestly, and it's like, okay, because I know that, Atlas didn't sleep great and he's going to take a longer nap today. That means we're going to have less time in between when he wakes up and when we need to go move on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. So I know that he's most likely going to eat that snack in the car. So let's make sure that there's the 3 snacks that he's really enjoying right now in the car, ready to go, so that you don't get him in the car and not have the snack. And then it just snowballs out of control. The next thing you know, you're trying to keep him chill and not throwing a fit at Taekwondo practice.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, so you're really, really good at anticipating, like, here are the tools and resources I'm going to need, right? Mm-hmm. And making sure that they're available to you. I think there's a lesson to be learned there, in business. It's like you can probably predict a number of common issues with a client or sales objections or whatever that is.
Sure.
And if you have like if you can anticipate those things, you can get the right resources, tools and things.
Yeah.
And have them ready so that if and when that situation comes up, you're not like scrambling to find the solution while you're in the middle of trying to solve the problem.
Yeah. I hate when things are on fire.
Right.
And I find that like really the vast majority of the time, and this is a very big privilege of mine in my life to be able to say this, but for me, where I'm at in my life, the vast majority of the time, things are avoidable. It's like, this didn't have to be this way. Right. Not everything has to be on fire. And I understand that doesn't apply to everyone. And sometimes you're just in a season of life where everything is on fire. And I get that. But with the kids getting older, having parented for a few years and having had our business for a few years, it's like, I love a puzzle. I love a pattern. And I can just see like, okay, yeah, he didn't take a great nap. So now I'm going to have to pull out a different color water bottle so that he is enchanted by it at Taekwondo practice so I can distract him and put 2 ice cubes so it makes a clink clink sound that he loves. And that's the tool I'm going to have to use. But the routine is we're going to Taekwondo practice with Madeline and we've got to be cool, calm, collected on the sidelines. So what do I need to do to make that happen? And unfortunately, he's flipped out enough times at Taekwondo practice that I'm like, okay, I've learned his pattern. I've learned what, puzzle piece can help.
Yeah. The thing, so sometimes I'm the one who takes him to Taekwondo. Yeah. And what I struggle with is sitting in the discomfort of when he's in the middle of a process and he's struggling.
Yeah.
And my instinct is like, just remove him. Just like pick him up and take him out in the other room. Like go remove him from the situation. And I've noticed a few times recently that we've been able to go together when the calendars align.
Yeah.
Is that you're comfortable sitting in the discomfort. And I'm curious to know how did you build that skill?
Gosh, I think it's just having been the primary with them for 3 kids now. Like I have taken this, I can't stress this enough, this week is the first time that I've not had a child with me every day.
Yeah, when you walked into the office today, everyone's like, it's kind of weird that you don't have at least one of the kids
It's weird.
with you.
It's like seeing a mama duck and no ducklings. You're like, where are they?
Right.
Did they get lost? Did they not cross the street safely? Like, what is happening? So this is the first time that I've not had a child. So I've just had enough experiences where, hey, we're going to have to abandon the cart in Target this time.
But I think like in life in general, you're comfortable sitting in the discomfort.
I think that's just a strength of mine that makes me like want to be the primary parent, or when I was teaching, or even being a substitute teacher. You want to talk about sitting in discomfort, you should go substitute teach junior high. They're brutal.
That sounds terrible, honestly.
Yeah, but they'll teach you. That muscle will grow real quick. I don't know. I just don't happen to think that they're doing anything wrong. I just don't feel bad about their processes. I can understand and I can hear when it's inconveniencing other people, but inconveniencing adults is not more of a priority to me than my child being able to emote or learn or grow or whatever. Now, if they're throwing a full-blown fit, like for sure we're going to leave. But if you're just whining and, making demands, like, we're going to sit there and breathe through it, and we're going to, 5 things we can see and 4 things we can hear, and, we're going to ground ourselves and get through it. Because otherwise, in my experience, our kids will just think, okay, I just have to scream loud enough that I get to go do something else.
Right.
And I can't be 3 places at once, unfortunately.
How we do all this like ongoing continuing education, and there's all these required training classes and compliance stuff we have to do. I think that we should create our own that's like, here's what you do when you're feeling overwhelmed. Here are 5 things you can see and 4 things you can hear. Because that's a life skill. And I don't think that people really realize like how that's like stress management, and like it's a basic thing that all humans need. And I don't think that we talk a lot about it.
I think adults are really hard on themselves because they should themselves. Like, I should be able to handle the stress. I should know how to calm myself down. Like, I shouldn't be snapping at my kids or my spouse. And it's like, you're just a human person. That you got overwhelmed, you got flooded. It's okay. But yeah, I don't know.
The emotional flooding, I think, is something that we've been talking about lately. And I think that's obviously it's always existed, but now that we can name it, it's like, that makes a lot of sense. Like I noticed, we talked about Madeline sometimes gets emotionally flooded and she just kind of turns into a bit of a puddle.
She takes on more than she can process.
Right.
So her little Brita filter gets
clogged.
Gets overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It's just like too much input and she can't process as fast as these things are coming in. She's trying to keep up with her older sister, and
right.
and
then she's overflowing, and then she's panicking because of the overflow, and she feels out of control.
Scary.
And I can imagine, I know for sure I've felt that way. And it's really interesting idea of like, there's nothing wrong. It's like there's nothing wrong.
What I mean. There's
it's just
nothing
she's
wrong.
flooded. Right. She says too much.
It's a natural situation.
Yeah. And I think that happens. I know that happens to me for sure in running our business. Or there are just some times where I'm like, I'm going to turn off my phone. I'm going to turn off my computer. And I have to walk away from this because I have too many inputs and I cannot process it. And I don't even know where to start. I need to go remove myself, breathe some fresh air, and then I can come back and approach this again. Yeah. And I can do that because I'm an adult, right? But
well, I mean, it's a skill for everyone.
Right. But what I'm saying is that as a child, like Madeline has to go back to class when it's time to go back to class. Like she can't just get up and take a walk.
Gotcha. Yeah.
If it's time to go back in out of recess, she's kind of has to get with it.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that it's something that I've been paying attention to. This is, I think, part of the healing journey as a parent, right? Like learning more about yourself through your children and or through your parenting as well.
Through that mirror they hold up.
You said that the other day, and you're like, "Shine that mirror, girl." And I was like, dude, it's brutal sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that I've been really thinking about the growth that you can achieve through that self-reflection in your parenting, and this idea of like, I know for sure that when I get frustrated with Madeline, when she's having that flooded emotions, she's overwhelmed, it's because I also feel that way.
Exactly.
Right? And that I get frustrated with myself and I'm hard on myself, like you said, when I'm like, I should be able to handle this. Like I am the one, I'm in charge. I am the boss. Like I just need to be able to make a decision and let's go. But I think that there's a lesson, there.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. I mean, when you were saying when you get overwhelmed at work and you can take that break, like rest is productive, which is another thing I think that is like one of the core tenets of how we run our house and run our business is that rest is productive. And
right.
I will not be in a burnout mode if I'm starting to feel tired of something. And again, I think it is a privilege to be able to say, hey, I've got to step away from this, or to just respond to something and say, respond to an email and say, I need a couple days to think about this. I can't respond.
Right.
With a fully formed thought right now. Or to tell the kids like, hey, we can't do that right now. And maybe we will this weekend, maybe we won't. I don't know. We're gonna have to figure it out. But slowing things down has helped a lot. And I think having that routine for you to like step away from your desk and step away from things really helps, because then you can get right back to it. And, you can't control. It's like kids. Like I find myself just gently parenting all the time, just all the time, because you can't control anything else in the world except how you respond to things, right? And even those, sometimes you feel like you're reacting, like you were saying, when one of the kids is kind of poking you in a tender spot and it's like, oh, I'm going to react to this. I'm going to have an emotion that is going to lead me instead of a thought process. Having a routine to like step back and just slow it down and give it a little bit of space. There's such a sense of urgency in our society. And I think especially in the work that we do, because some of the timelines are super, super tight. But stepping back, taking even just 5 minutes is going to make the rest of the process so much more smooth.
Totally.
And it's worth it. Then it's worth more, I think, to step back and say, I need 5 minutes to respond to this email, or I can't solve this problem until I've eaten lunch or something.
Right.
Because then you move with more clarity and you're a lot more efficient. And
100%. I think that the takeaway there for me is like, you have to go slow to go fast.
My groove is slow.
Right. You have to go slow. When we make mistakes on things, typically it's because we're trying to go too fast.
And you get flooded.
And you get, and if you, exactly. And if you slow it down and you just like take the kind of frantic energy out of it, then you can have a clearer line of sight to what a solution might be. But if you're just like a million miles an hour, things racing through your head, I think honestly, that's why sometimes the solution to like a difficult loan file comes to me in the middle of the night.
Yes,
or
it's like in the shower.
Because it's slow and I'm just able to like be there and I'm not trying to do 19 things at once. I mean, you've seen my office. I have 5 or 6 screens pointed at me all the time, and it's 2 different computers, and it's like I'm all over the place, and that's just kind of the energy that I'm operating on.
That is your energy, and my energy has always been, I will allow 1 television in our house. We have one television.
Yeah, that's true. I have 2 in my office.
Right. You have 2 in your office. Yeah. So this is, again, the strengths that we balance each other out with.
Oh,
but to your point, it's like when you're having that overwhelm or things are coming at you really fast or you're feeling stressed, there's so many inputs coming at you and there's so many thoughts. And a lot of them are tied to feelings that you're not actively feeling. You're just experiencing like, oh, I feel stressed. It's like, okay, but why? And if you could just take 5 minutes, I feel like for me, at least, half of those emotions dissipate if I can just take 5 minutes, take a couple deep breaths, ground myself, and then look at the problem and go, oh, this is actually just like 3 points that I need to hit, not 28, what I was feeling. Because then also, I don't know about you, but then I start spiraling like, everybody always wants so much from me and they're asking me for too much and da-da-da. It's like,
right.
Okay. And you know what? People can ask you for stuff and the answer can be no. And that's okay. You can tell people no. You can say no.
Yeah.
No is a full and complete sentence. No, thank you is a kinder full and complete sentence.
I think it's, yeah, I tend to say yes to like pretty much everything.
I know. You'd be killer at improv.
Yes, and?
I would stink at it. I'd be like, no, thank you. I'm going to go. I need 5 minutes.
I think that's a really important component is that we get asked to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that's okay to be asked. It's flattering. It's nice for people to consider you and ask you to participate in whatever they're doing.
Sure, can be.
But you can say no.
Yeah.
And I think going back to one of the original ideas of like the freedom is in the routine, if saying yes takes you out of your routine, then you should say no. If saying yes can be incorporated into your routine and it can get worked into the flow of what you're doing, then maybe yes is okay. But you have to protect the routine.
Yes. And your boundaries. And I think something again that's worth mentioning is that when you say yes to things, you're saying no to something else along the lines.
And vice versa. When you're saying no to things, you're saying yes to other things.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And that, yeah, I think that is crucial to staying on track with whatever the big goal is.
But you have to know, like, what are my goals? What are my values? What are my intentions? And, you know, if things don't align with that, they just don't align with that. And you don't have to have any judgment around it. It doesn't have to be like a negative thing. It's just, no, thank you. That doesn't align with where I'm at. No problem. It's also this sense of like urgency that we have in our society where everything's like, how many emails do you get about things on sale?
Like a day?
Yeah.
Like 15, 20?
Right. Same. Everything's always on sale. And it's like a once in a lifetime sale. It's a sale's only happening right now. This will never happen again.
The Nespresso sale ends tonight at midnight. And if we don't order now, you're going to miss out on your free gift.
Yep. For another 10 days until they have a sale. But we don't remember that. And our little lizard brains back there are like, you have to get that sale. It's going to end. It's going to end. You don't want to miss out on this. But it's not. It's perpetual. There's not a finite number of experiences in the world. It's infinite. There's always something else coming. There's always more to do. So you've got to say no to a couple of those things.
I like it.
You like what? Saying yes to everything?
No, I like the idea of like, it's okay and it's good to say no.
Yeah.
And like protecting your balance.
Yeah.
Right. And the harmony in your life. And just because someone asks doesn't mean that the answer should be yes. And that's like taking on a new client. Maybe the right answer is no.
Sometimes it is, unfortunately.
Right.
But being asked a question is an invitation, not a demand. I'm inviting you into this process with me. You can say yes or no.
You're really smart.
Gently parenting.
I mean, that's the skill set, right? You're gently parenting clients, you're gently parenting employees, you're gently parenting our children and, you know,
myself.
and yourself and your friends. And I think that's a really important skill set that you bring to our overall life is that you look at a lot of situations that need that gentle guidance, right?
Yeah.
And I tend to sometimes be the bull in the china shop, like, let's just go tear down the wall, we'll figure out as we go, and like, let's just dive head first. And
on
like,
occasion.
And like, that sometimes pays off. Like, you have to take that big risk, and that's
that has always been super fun for me, though. When you have like a really big idea that you're passionate about and you're like all in on it, I'm like, you can't fail.
Yeah. Gently parenting.
Gently parenting. Because so what? So what if you fail? So what?
How many times have I failed?
Right?
Like,
and you're still here. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
You're still successful.
Thanks.
I just don't like to take much of life too seriously. There's like a handful of things I take seriously. And then after that, it's like, it's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing bad's going to happen. We were invited to a birthday party. We had a play date on Saturday. We had a birthday party on Sunday. After Saturday, the kids were a little burnt out. Sunday came. I was like, you know what? This is not feeling in alignment. I was feeling like a pull, of like, ugh, I don't think the kids are going to make it through this. And we would have gone, we would have had a great time, sure. But they would have been so overstimulated, so dysregulated. I'm sure it would have been fun in the moment when we got there, but I could just imagine that moving through that party and the stimulus and the sugar and whatever else, they weren't going to have a good time and they weren't going to be great guests.
Right.
These are not people you would want around in those moments. So I made the executive decision that we were going to stay home. And they had a pajama day and played together. And guess what? We saw that friend on Monday and we gave them their gift. And they were so, so happy about it. And they were so happy to receive a gift on an additional day. And their parent that invited us was super loving and understanding of my decision and was kind. And literally nothing bad happened.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly it. And you did what was right for the kids and for their needs, and you put the needs to them first, and everything worked out. And we were able to stay in our groove and our routine, and we didn't have like a tough bedtime and throw them off track, and they don't sleep well going into the week, and like all these things build on each other.
They do,
right?
They compound,
and the compounding nature of the home life impacts the work life and the business and everything else, right? So it's all interconnected, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of a bit dramatic to example, but like that one decision led to this, staying in our groove. Everyone went to bed on time. Monday morning comes around. We got up on time. We're able to do our thing. The week started off great. And like it means that I'm able to bring more energy and more positivity and more kind of brain power to our clients, which leads to better results for them, better results for us in the business. And so all these things are like one big interconnected web. And so I think, just thinking about, who might be listening to this, it's like, if you're feeling, out of whack, if you're feeling out of balance, that what Meg said earlier about the routine, freedom is in the routine.
Freedom is in the routine.
And if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't get enough done, and I'm always struggling, or I feel just depleted after getting the kids out the door in the morning, and I'm like need hours to recover before I'm like really bringing my best energy and my best self to my business. Like, take a look at that routine, see what you're committing to, see where you can say no to stay on track. And I would bet that would relieve a lot of that pressure.
Right. And part of it, like I mentioned earlier, is slowing down. And when you slow down, for me at least, I can see the steps, like that kind of snowball of steps that's going to happen. So for instance, missing this birthday party was a bummer. But Madeline has been having really tough drop-offs because she's in a brand new school. She's in a brand new class. She doesn't know the campus. She's quite overwhelmed. And it's understandable because she's a baby. She's 4. So having her have a day at home where we were all together really filled her cup. And so when we dropped her off on Monday, she was still teary, but she was able to recover a little more quickly because she was able to draw on that like one-on-one time she had with you, one-on-one time she had with me, playing with her siblings, having cozy time in her pajamas, reading books together. That really charged her up to get through that difficult time for her in her little life at school. But slowing down helps us see what these decisions are going to be impacting in our future, in our coming days. And sometimes it's not a big deal. Like missing a birthday party, it didn't really impact Matilda. She gave the gift the next day. It was no big deal. She was back on track in like an hour. But it really impacted Madeline to fill her bucket up and make sure that she had this like energy and understanding and, memories to focus on when we're doing drop-offs and she's missing us. And I feel at least like when things are coming at me so quickly and I'm having to make quick, like impulsive decisions, I'm having to double or triple that work down the road.
Yeah.
which is very inefficient.
And you hate inefficiency.
I hate inefficiency. So if there's, kind of this like hook for you that's like, I can't slow down, I have too much to do. Also, maybe examine like, are you doing things 2 or 3 times to get them done? Because you're putting a Band-Aid on something right now that's going to impact later. If you take maybe 1.5 times the amount of time to do it now, you're going to save yourself from doing it 3 times.
Yeah, or that in the same vein, like if you are doing something and you're distracted and it's taking a 30-minute task is taking you 4 hours to get done because you're, not able to focus on it.
Yeah.
Like maybe that walking away, recollecting yourself and then coming back is actually more efficient. Maybe taking a 30-minute break, right?
Yeah. For yourself, doing something for yourself, eating in quiet or like eating in peace or taking a walk or having a glass of water, just something to refuel yourself.
That's something I need to do better at. Like my solution was like, I'll get a walking pad for under the desk so I can I can take the walk without leaving the computer.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
which it's helpful in other regards.
No, for sure. But like go outside maybe. Like go take a 15-minute walk.
Yeah. Like nobody, if you are going to lose a deal because you took 15 minutes to go touch grass, like is that a deal that was really solid to
Number
begin with?
one, I'm allergic to grass.
Sorry, that was
insensitive
to the, if you have grass allergies, I apologize.
Yes. But I think, I'm concerned, not that I'm going to lose a deal about it, but like, I don't have 15 minutes to spare. I have so much to do. And it's like, you know what, Dan, maybe go take a walk and take 15 minutes and then you'll get recharged. And then you'll be able to knock out the work that would otherwise take you 3 hours in 1 hour. And you're actually giving yourself back like 2 hours of time in that example.
100%.
I would bet again that that's true. And I'm sure there's studies and look one up after this, but
sure.
My guess is that like taking that breather, going out and touching grass is probably more beneficial than staying at the desk for that incremental 15 minutes.
Oh, for sure. I'm pretty unapologetic about my downtime. I need a lot.
Tell me more about that.
I need a lot of downtime. Because listen, I am filtering emotions for 3 people all day long up until 5 days ago. And now I'm filtering those emotions. It's so funny. It doesn't make it any easier or any less. It's just that the kids bring home a full day's worth of emotions and they've got 90 minutes to get it all out.
Yeah.
Before it's a transition to a different, like a meal time.
Yeah.
If we get home at 3:30 or 4, they've got 60 to 90 minutes to emote for a whole day, whatever they've been holding inside, whatever they've been working through, whatever they've been backburnering at school, they unleash it onto me. And so it's like I'm filtering for 4 people all day long.
I think you've created a really safe space for the kids. And what I've, talking to the teachers and stuff like that, like, just a joy and they're so great and they listen to everything and, they're just wonderful, wonderful kids to have in the class.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's true, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the kids know like that when they get home, it's safe to like let out all those emotions.
Oh, absolutely.
So they're way more challenging at home in my estimation.
Sure.
Because they have that safety and they know that they can, they can emote and they can go through their process and they can let it all out.
Yeah.
Everything that may be holding in, which makes your job and my job infinitely more difficult.
Which is why it is extremely important to me that I have time to refuel and not just eat, but like, food and hydration are important. But like I need to exercise so I can have a process for working out my stress and my big feelings. And I need downtime to sit and read my book so that I'm not in the constant barrage of 24-hour news cycles. So I can go and see the current book I'm reading right now is called Margot's Got Money Troubles and it's for my book club. And I'm like, what's Margot up to? I can't, I don't want to hear one more thing about the news. I need to know what is happening in Margot's world. And
I read the book flap on that one.
It's really
That was
great.
on the book of the month.
Yeah, I ordered it from Book of the Month. One of our book club members picked it. She suggested it, and it's like, of course, one of the only books I didn't have a copy of. So,
how many books is it to make a library?
It's only 1,000. You just need 1,000 books to call your collection a library.
We have like 2 libraries.
We have 2 libraries in the house and a free little library out front.
Something that people might not know about us as a family is that there are books in every single room of our house.
There are books in every single room of our house.
Is there a room that doesn't have a book?
No, I've made sure of it. There's not a room that doesn't have books.
Every single room has books.
Our entryway has books. It's not even a room.
It does.
I love books.
Meg loves books.
So anyway, it's important to me to take that time and to do something I love, which is reading. I like to sew. I do slow things because my life is fast-paced enough. There's already a barrage of things coming at me between work and the house stuff and the kids, marriage. That's a whole commitment in and of itself. And the communication that it takes and your feelings and your stress levels. We've got 4 chickens. R.I.P. Babar, he just kicked last year. So we had a dog for 15 years. I mean, it's a nonstop, especially I think for women or for the primary care provider. It is a nonstop cycle of providing care and nurturing. And mama needs a break. I need a break. So my standing rule has been I don't work during nap times. I refuse. I found out early on with Matilda, it was a lie that you can do everything when the baby sleeps or you can sleep when the baby sleeps. No. When the baby sleeps, that's my time. And I've held to that until we're not doing naps except for on the weekends now. And I don't work when the kids are napping. I have my lunch. I watch my Bravo shows. I read a book. I sew. I sit quietly. I nap, but I do not work.
It's a good policy.
It's a solid policy.
I think it's really good. I think that something that I really learned from you in our kind of life journey together is like really to slow down and to
slow down
and to like take that minute and, I don't have to be writing emails while in between bites of my lunch.
Can I get that in writing?
Yeah, totally.
Well, it's recorded now, so I'm going
it lives on
to
forever.
make this a clip.
Yes, totally. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate that perspective because my, one of the things I struggle with is like the perfectionist tendencies, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so
hard.
like I have to go because I have to go and I have to put in everything into it. Because if it doesn't work out, which it probably won't, it's just like my psychology, right?
Yeah.
Is like, then it's my fault because I took that 15-minute break. Right?
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So like if I don't do squeeze out every last drop out of myself every single day and it fails, then it's my fault.
That's just capitalism talking to you. That's not your fault. That's just capitalism.
Well, that's how I feel, right? That's
right.
That's my fear. My fear is that, I have to go because if I don't, do
the Nespresso sale ends at midnight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of this urgency thing. And I'm working through that. I don't want to, do that forever. But I definitely feel like your perspective of like, when we decided to have kids, you're like, cool. It's the same time that we started the business. And you're like, I need you home every night for dinner. Like that's a non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable. We're going to sit down for dinner every single
and we've done
night.
It. Unless I'm out of town, we have done that.
I FaceTime you in when you're out of town.
Yes.
We don't miss a family dinner.
Yes, that's true. And so that, again, that boundary, that routine, I know that I'm safe to say no to any engagements that would take me away from mealtime.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so like, it's not that I'm like, oh, well, my wife says I can't. I would never say that. It's our life routine, right? Like I can't do that. Thank you very much. The answer is no. I have a thing I do, right?
One of our core values is meals together. Always dinner, breakfast as much as possible. The morning's a little more crazy, but always dinner.
Yep.
That's
part of the routine. That's part of what we do. So, I think that perspective from you is really cool. And I definitely appreciate your helping me see that routine, how important the routine is, and that it's okay to say no, and to find the bit more balance that kind of giving me permission in a way to walk away from something and then not feel responsible. Does that make sense?
100%. 100%. And also, like, to your point, things aren't your fault. And if people's feelings are hurt, rattled, irritated, whatever, annoyed, okay, that's okay. They will get through it. They will. Nobody has ever been unduly harmed from being told, no, thank you. That's it. And that's theirs to get through. They can go talk to their mama. But, like I tell the kids,
they need a gentle parent to help them
they need to
through
find
it.
a gentle parent or a therapist in their area. And that's fine. But
I don't want to like joke about it, but like the mental health aspect of things is definitely underappreciated.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
And our mental health is so much more affected by the constant barrage of work and stress and things. I mean, I know we take a light hand with it and joke about all the things, but it's so true. It can feel like you're drowning. It can feel like you're free falling sometimes. But that whole thing that I keep saying about the freedom is in the routine, it's like when you have a reliable, predictable routine for your life, whatever that looks like for you, walking away from something is so much easier because then there's an on-ramp. You know where your on-ramps are. So like when and it can be even used for fun. Like Atlas naps. He's the only kid that naps still. But that makes it a little difficult because, if we want to take the girls to the beach or whatever, all the kids to the beach, it's like we're not going to be home for Atlas's nap. But we know there's that on-ramp. He'll sleep in the car. Or if he takes a little nap in the car, we'll knock bedtime 30 minutes earlier. Whatever it is, that that there's the safety of a place where you can get right back on track.
Right.
So it doesn't feel as dire to say no because okay, there's a place for me to return to.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
You're really smart.
I try. I read a lot of books.
I read a lot of books.
Been in therapy for a decade.
Well, I think that, I don't want to make light of that.
My therapist is really smart, actually.
Yes. I've been pretty open about that. And I think, you have been as well, like our individual therapy journey and our couples therapy and everything else we've done through. It's a lot of work and it takes a lot of focused effort and willingness to learn and grow. And I think that the journeys that we've both been on in that realm has really helped us with our marriage and our communication, and that has helped us become better parents, that's helped us to become better business people. And it really, I think the big pivotal moments is when we both like fully committed to our individual and couples therapy,
100%,
and just worked out a lot of these assumptions and hooks that we were kind of stuck on. And it was really freeing to unburden a lot of those things. And I know for me, like I feel like a much better dad and a much better husband and a much better business person, having gone through a lot of that kind of interpersonal work.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're able to be more present because you're not up in your head all the time. Or at least that's my experience. I'm able to be more present because I'm not in my head all the time. But yeah, I think it's interesting because I think sometimes the perception of us is like we're super high functioning. Like we have our business and we both work and we've got the 3 kids. I do PTA stuff. I just signed up to be the Arts Attack room parent for Matilda's 2nd grade class.
Ooh.
And, we're at the gym and, we do a lot of things. But what's important to understand is we have support systems in ourselves and in our therapy practices and mindfulness practices and being able to have like a physical outlet of working out and a mental outlet of our therapist. And that's what works for us.
Yeah.
Other outlets might work better for different people. But we each have different individual therapists and a couples therapist. We have 3 therapists between us. And I think sometimes that can come across as like a lot, or maybe because we seem high functioning, it's like, you don't need that much. And it's not about needing it. It's about wanting a safe space to process with somebody else who can give an outside perspective.
Yeah.
Has been life-saving for me.
No, 100%. And in addition to that, I have a business coach. Like I've got,
right.
Because I don't know.
Of course. How could you?
I've never had a 7-year-old or a almost 5-year-old,
right.
At the same time. Like
right.
I'm learning all this as we go.
Exactly.
And we're just doing our very best. And I think you're right. It's having that support system of people who are there to help us see a perspective that we wouldn't otherwise, that helps us grow and learn. Right. It's like, so yeah, it's like a therapist or a coach or a life coach or, a business coach, whatever that is. I think everyone should have some type of an advisory position in their life.
I think it should be much more accessible to everybody. I think everybody would benefit from.
Yeah, I think, everyone would benefit from it. Everyone deserves.
Everyone deserves it.
That.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's an affordability issue, which shouldn't be.
Right.
But, having that neutral third party or advocate to just kind of go like, well, have you thought of it this way? I hear what you're saying. Your feelings are valid. What if we shifted our perspective a bit?
Yeah. And they are outside of your realm. So, they're hearing things from your perspective and they're able to give you feedback on like maybe what else is possible.
Yeah.
And, if you're sick, you go to the doctor. If you need your car oil change, you go to a mechanic. You've got big feelings, you go to a therapist. It's not a big deal. It's just another resource. Yeah.
I really enjoy these conversations.
Me too.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure.
What'll be fun to do next time is if people have questions, we can answer questions. So if you have questions and you're listening to this, drop a comment in the YouTube comments or email us or something. I don't know. Socials are in our social media links will be in the bio or in the show notes. And we'll do like a Q&A. That'd be kind of fun.
I think next time also we should list off all of the businesses we've owned. Because when people say like, oh, how do you work together? I'm like, we've never not worked together. We literally met at work. We've always worked together. We've always worked together.
Shout out Washington Mutual. That's where we met. We're both the new accounts reps at WAMU.
Shout out to the FDIC for
seizing the bank. Thank you, Carrie Killen. No, just kidding.
All right, enough.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the show. And I love you very much. And I appreciate you coming on here and being so open and vulnerable and kind of taking the show in a different perspective.
I'm not great at ADUs or zoning permits.
All really important stuff. All really important stuff.
Because there's other experts.
Yeah, totally. And so if you enjoyed the show, please leave a comment and let us know that you're listening. And we'll have you back sometime soon next month. We do like once a month with you. It'd be kind of fun.
Sure.
And we'll see you next time on By the Bay.
I'm going to go gently parent.
Stay up to date with Bay Area real estate. Hit subscribe now if you haven't already. Did you enjoy this episode? We love reviews in the Apple Podcasts app. We'll read yours on the show. This is By the Bay.
Lend an Ear Media.